Surviving Sister Wives contains adult content that may not be suitable for Latter-day Saints or sinners. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Sister Wives.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly, and this is Season 19, Episode 22, Love Covers All Wrongs.
And I forgot to do my Bible explanations. I think that was a thing that we were doing throughout Season 19 here. I missed last week. Baby Billy Bible Bonkers.
Uncle Baby Billy Bible Bonkers are back.
Ain't no Family Feud. It's Bible Bonkers.
It's exactly like Family Feud.
But love covers all wrongs. Yeah, that's from, what is that? Proverbs 10:12. Hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all wrongs.
I do like a good proverb.
Proverbs was my favorite book of the Bible.
Really? Did not know that.
It's just full of wisdom and tidbits.
Hold on, was in past tense.
Yeah, because it's just, not so much anymore. When I used to have to read it, that was where I'd go.
Are you going to give us a translation or like some explanation? That's just the whole proverb. That's it. We're not going any deeper.
Do you need an allegory to understand that more? I think it's just Kody's interpretation of it is that Robyn can do no wrong because he loves her. Have you seen that on display here in season 19?
Yeah.
Pretty much the entirety of the show.
This was a big episode. I feel like there was a lot discussed, a lot of tea spilled. Some of you may have seen it early.
Yeah, it seems to keep happening where the folks with the Plus Max subscriptions. So if you have like Hulu Plus, Hulu with a side of Max.
I gotta tell you, like, streaming subscriptions are very confusing now.
They're all loaded up. They're all infused and entwined. It gets very confusing.
Which is why they're having trouble uploading the episodes on the right dates.
Because they're just posting them whenever, willy-nilly.
So you got to be out there on the lookout. You never know when a random episode might be dropping in whatever app you have.
It might get you. But the TLC description for this one is, Christine is excited to spend her first monogamous Valentine's Day with David. Meri and Janelle meet at Coyote Pass to discuss a strategy moving forward. Robyn and Kody discuss more being polygamous. More? No. No, it's a typo. Robyn and Kody discuss not being polygamous anymore, and Kody expresses his disappointment in plural marriage.
Yet again.
Seems to be the continuation. Yeah, that's what we keep coming back to. It's our cornerstone.
Well, without further ado.
Get the pony in the water?
No, I've got to rewrite. I got to do my rewrite first.
I keep forgetting about the rewrites because we haven't done them for months.
Meri and Janelle finally get a little litigious. Christine excitedly anticipates creating new Valentine's Day traditions. Kody and Robyn celebrate their love by discussing their many disappointments.
That is really helping their love flourish. It's just finding all of the flaws and...
They think they're trauma bonding.
They think that's what's happening. It's they're getting along. But then what's really happening is they're running out of excuses. So, we're getting close.
Before we jump into the episode, if you guys aren't following us over on Surviving Reality, you might want to start doing that because we are going to be recapping every moment of Poly Family.
So that's coming out this week. You're going to be getting those episodes. It airs on Tuesday nights. So you'll get those on the public feed on Wednesday mornings. If you like what you're listening to, if you like the episode content, the recaps here, we also have our Patreon where you get episodes ad-free and early. So you'd get those Polyfam episodes on Tuesday right after they air.
All right. This pony is ready to go to Coyote Pass.
It's got the floaties on.
Coyote Pass?
Peyote is what they need. And maybe Meri and Janelle have had some peyote spirit journey experiences here because they've come a long way in terms of their relationship.
It's pretty obvious, though. The rest of the episode is taking place in February in Flagstaff, and they appear to be standing out on land. It's a nice day. It's warm. Janelle's worried about the UV index. She's got the sunblock.
A fresh
on
coat.
The lip.
Yeah, a fresh coat on the upper lip.
She can't afford to get melanoma for like multiple reasons. One of which is Coyote Pass.
Oh, I was going to say financial reasons. Yes, because it's tied up in Coyote Pass right now. Very much so. So they're talking it over. They're reminiscing all the good memories of plot ownership that took place on the land, because that's pretty much all they've done on the land so far. They weren't here when Robyn went over the handlebars, so they don't have any lasting memories like that, like we do.
It was a really great time just standing on this land and discussing which piece we were going to live on. And never doing it, but just coming out here and fighting every time we come here was a fond memory that I'm going to hold with me dearly.
We remember all the times we fought together. Because that's pretty much all they did here. That's it.
At least they both agree that they want their money back. That's the bond that we have bringing these two together.
Nothing like a good feud to solidify two rivals against a common enemy. I'd love to see it.
So Janelle, we know, has been busy discussing things with an attorney.
And Meri has an attorney allegedly on standby that she is reluctant to use, but will get involved if she needs to. What do we think the over-under is that attorney is just Jen with ChatGPT?
I think Meri's getting her value out of having Jen as an employee.
She's going to be working overtime for the next couple of weeks here.
And luckily, Janelle has done a lot of the hard work already. She found all of the paperwork from when they bought the property.
You know what? Good for her. I'm glad that Janelle has kind of taken the lead on this. And then they even talk a little bit about how Meri went ahead with the spiritual divorce, the unsealing. So like that was what Meri's focus was on. And Janelle's kind of interested in maybe looking into that. It's another way to stick it to Kody. Eternity's a real long time. So maybe just in case, let's cover our bases.
Yeah, she's like, well, just to cover my bases. You know, I don't think I'll ever get married again, but...
Not that it matters, because it doesn't really matter, but just in case it matters. Eternity, if you're talking about that, that's a real long time, and I want to be sure.
And I don't want to hear anything about Janelle and Meri being mortal enemies, because Meri is offering to come with Janelle to get the spiritual release.
And this was what we thought was a necessary part of this. When Janelle was talking about how I wouldn't even know the process, I wouldn't even know how to start that or how to navigate that. Meri knows. Maybe you should look into that. And that's exactly what happened. So I'm glad to see that finally playing out, because that was our initial assessment as well.
We know when Meri just did that Tamron Hall interview, it sounded like things with Kody were really shitty. Wouldn't it be funny if that's because Meri went with Janelle to go get the release?
She's doubling up on releases. She's getting Janelle out before she pulls that ladder up behind her, because Christine doesn't care.
She should go too, just for shits and giggles. Why
not? At this point, yeah, I mean, you might as well. It's already filled out.
Can we just piggyback off of Janelle's paperwork or... whatever Meri had, whatever she originally submitted, we'd like to use that.
Just throw my name on it too. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's the energy they should have brought when they were assigning the ownership to the property. Because at least the one thing that is the silver lining is that Kody can only sell 2 out of the 4 pieces without anyone else's approval.
Because Janelle's name, thankfully, is on 2 plots as well. There are only 2 plots where Meri and Janelle are not involved. It's just Kody or Kody and Robyn's names associated with those ones. So they have a little bit of a saving grace here where Janelle is able to block as needed. And now she's fighting for Meri to get her fair share, because right now Meri only has her name on 1 plot of land, and that is multiple names. So she only has like a third or a quarter of that piece.
One singular lot.
Which is terrible. So Janelle's basically looking at this as, at a baseline, we need to get everyone's names on all of the plots, so that way we have it titled correctly as far as moving this towards a sale.
I thought it was interesting that Meri mentioned she questioned that. When Kody first assigned the lot ownership, she thought that what he did was weird. But when you ask something, you're like a naysayer. You're like a bummer, Meri. Why are you asking things like that?
And they were both just berated into, don't ask questions because you get guilted, you get punished, you get ostracized in the family for asking questions. So just don't do that. Don't be like such a bummer about asking questions and things.
Don't be like this, all uncool.
Yeah, like be a little cool about it, because I'm just doing this arbitrarily. I'm just drawing names out of a hat and those are the names that are going on the plots, and it's just whatever I feel like doing. Those are the names that popped up.
Isn't that weird? Because
isn't that weird?
That's exactly why I paused, because my brain played that. I can't do the impressions, so there's just a moment of complete silence while I hear it in my
Gold
head.
member is their attorney. You know what's weird? Everyone has this land.
Kody's obsessed with making sure Robyn has an estate, but when it came to something like this, he didn't assign the property to ensure that everybody had equal ownership.
Yeah, because Robyn needs her estate. That's the point. Because, yeah, when Janelle was providing a bunch of money for the down payment on the She-Ra Chateau, Janelle saying, maybe my name should be on the title since I'm paying for this bitch.
Correct, girl.
Yes.
Correct.
It should have been. Your first reaction was the correct reaction. And honestly, you would have made out like a bandit if your name was on that title. You would have made way more selling the She-Ra Chateau than you did selling Coyote Pass.
What did we figure out they banked? It was like
147.5.
No. The She-Ra Chateau. It wasn't
783.
like 7 something?
Yeah. Something around there. So she would have done way better if she was looped in on that deal.
This is why Meri needed to continue to be the legal wife, though, because she's asking the hard questions.
Like Tamron Hall. That's why they click. There's synergy.
Okay, maybe Tamra needs a co-host.
I don't think so. Let's not. It's too much too soon. Because then it's just going to end up devolving into Friday with Friends, sort of Meri laughing at her own jokes and she's not able to get anything out.
Meri was loving getting hyped up by the audience, though.
She got all gassed up on Tamron Hall.
Yeah.
And that was good. She's not used to it. That's for sure.
They need applause signs whenever they do the Worthy Up symposiums.
I don't think there's a big enough draw for that. I don't think
there's not going to be an audience, like a flank off to. Come on, people would pay
you would hear
to sit and observe
the buzzing of the applause sign turning on and off because there's not enough people to outclap that sound.
Meri, I'm thinking that maybe this is something you need. You need an observation deck for the Worthy Up events.
An observation deck?
Yeah, I'm not there to participate. I'm just here to be a fly on the wall to see how it goes. And if you need me to gas you up by applauding here and there, I can do that.
Just flip the switch. Yeah, let me know. But instead, she's spending her time trying to decipher the ridiculous ramblings of Kody Brown. Because now he's talking about how he's never loved any of his wives. All the wives who left him, there was never any love, never loved them. 30 years of marriage, no love. She doesn't know what to do with that. Janelle knew right away, though. Immediately clocked it. I think it's just his ego. He's just sounding like he's upset, and so he has to shit talk us now.
That was right. Although Janelle is probably not the friend that you want to be shit talking with, because a lot of her reactions are just, yeah, that's bullshit.
Well, see, it was Meri that you couldn't trust. You shouldn't be shit talking with Meri because Meri kept running back to Kody and Robyn and telling them, and it's like, don't do that.
That wasn't very loyal of you, Meri.
Yeah, broke the Fidelis.
What was this whole story about how Janelle had to pin her bra together with a diaper pin and how Robyn could never live that life?
Yeah, where Robyn needs her estate. Now Kody has found his diesel jeans model and he needs to make her happy. So Janelle was really digging deep with those, referencing that multiple times.
She is capable of talking shit, but she's much better at it with the producers.
Yeah, I think it's because it's more fun because she's still not friends with Meri. I think we've established that. We're not
trading barbs yet about other people.
No, and it's not, there's not really a repartee that they're able to carry.
Playful interaction.
It's not fun. You sort of just suck the life out of a room when you walk into it, you know? Just that vibe. So that was back when they were broke, as Janelle has to edit herself saying, because she didn't want to say broke as fuck, dude. We were like so broke. A diaper pin to hold her bra together and the duct tape to hold her car window up too, probably. Right around that same time.
Things were rough, guys.
It was not easy.
She's right, though. Robyn can't live that life. I do think that Kody is overcompensating, that he's worried that Robyn is going to reject him like the other 3 wives have. And that is why there is a marked increase in spending in their household.
Well, it must not be a lot of online shopping that they're doing, though, surprisingly. Is the Wi-Fi not working at the Shira Chateau? What is happening?
SOS, no emails are getting through to the Shira Chateau.
It is a black hole for email over there. They don't know what is going on.
Because they've been emailing Kody, they get no response. None. And we know from the story that we heard last week with My Sister Wives Closet, there's also no responses going through to concerned customers.
Meri's been forwarding things to Robyn. No responses.
We did get a little bit more of that story from Miss Laura, who was kind enough to email us, whom suspects she may be the customer, well, her boyfriend.
Right.
Who was talked into buying something from My Sister Wives Closet, which is unfortunate because it was already a reluctant purchase.
There was a thoughtful gift exchange that was attempting to take place here and then immediately met with no response. The order was confirmed, the payment was sent, and then disputes started happening because then there were multiple attempts to reach out and try to have any sort of resolution as far as getting that stuff sent.
Well, which means that Meri sent the screenshot to Robyn and Robyn didn't do anything about it.
Multiple times, yes. And so then there was a dispute from the credit card side, which then Shopify disputed on the seller side.
Well,
which that's the twist in the story for us.
This is what I had to dig into because how does that process work when you dispute a charge through a Shopify shop? Well, according to the Google, the merchant, the shop owner, is the one who sees that come through and they have the opportunity to dispute it by sending evidence, which is what happened because somebody sent verification, a picture of the purchase being confirmed.
There was an order that was assigned, and then there had to be a follow-up from the person who made that order to say, yes, I ordered it, but then there was never any shipping confirmation. You didn't send me the product, so I need my money back.
So does that mean that Robyn, who couldn't be bothered to reply to the customer who has been emailing and asking where their shit is, took the time to upload evidence of the purchase to Shopify so that she could keep the money?
It seems like she was very quick on that response. So the Wi-Fi is working. Maybe she went to Starbucks or, got herself a sweet treat.
Kohl's, the dressing room at Kohl's.
The Wi-Fi's not good at Kohl's, though.
Did you see Kohl's has all of these graphic tees about Kohl's Cash?
Why would I see that?
Guys, if you're looking for a Halloween costume, you're starting to shop early, I think if you want to be Robyn, you should go get yourself one of those Kohl's Cash t-shirts. Not sponsored. I thought it was very funny.
Yeah, there you go.
I thought there was quite a variety to pick from. If anyone else has stories about making purchases from My Sister Wives Closet and never receiving them, we are organizing a class action lawsuit.
Well, not really, but Jen will, with the help of ChatGPT.
I love that Janelle's POV on this is fuck around and find out. We already warned him. You told Kody in an email that we were going to pursue legal action.
You know what? I'm glad we're going this route. In the long run, we warned him. We asked him. We told him and said, hey, if you can't get your shit together by this date and time, we're going to have to go the legal route. So in a way, Kody chose this. So don't feel bad, Meri. What's he going to do? Badmouth you on national television? He already does that for free. He's already doing it.
Nothing else worse can happen, Ma.
For real.
That was a deep track for Teen Mom fans. Kody keeps talking about how he spent $160,000 of his own money to purchase the property.
This part I don't get. So is this Kody looking at him and Robyn as a combined entity, but then he's saying that he put in over $160,000? Because if he put $160,000 into Coyote Pass, the shared combined outtake that they would have from that could cover that initial investment, but like barely. The 147.5, I think, is what we backed into. But it's less than that. It's like 10,000 less because they had to pay taxes over the years too. But
they did make more money off of selling the Shira Chateau.
Shira Chateau is where they have their saving grace.
At the end of the day, they're still up compared to everyone else.
Definitely.
He's construing this now to be, is it construing or misconstruing this?
I think he's
attempting
to
construe it.
Well, it definitely
He's
seems like
misconstruing it.
I think you could probably put miss at the front of anything that Kody's doing because it's a miss. It's going to be a miss.
He did say he's Babe Ruth.
Misguided,
miss.
Misinformed, just next to the stage, misguided.
But somehow we got from the point where, remember when he used to say, oh, if any of my wives want to leave, all they have to do is say the word and I'll give them a pile of cash and they'll be on their way. Now he's saying, well, what do you want me to take things from Robyn? I'm not going to pick Robyn's pockets for you.
And Janelle has this entitlement all of a sudden where since she's getting a divorce, she feels like she deserves something. Yeah, because that was how it's always been set up. And all of your finances were shared. So if she's leaving the family, yes, she needs to be made whole.
All she's trying to do is hit the cash out button.
It's hard to find it depending on where it is on the screen, too. It moves around depending on which machine you're on. It's very difficult.
The thing that pissed me off the most about this conversation is that Kody wants to sell the property. So do they. They all just want their money back, except for Robyn, who cannot make her mind up about anything. So that's why he hasn't replied to anyone. He's not going to rush Robyn.
He needs to protect Robyn and her estate because now his finances are very closely aligned with Robyn's finances. Not so much everybody else. Oh, there was one more thing about the spiritual release that really got me was the whole fact that Kody had to say that he had to remove himself from Meri's procedure and exploration of that with the church, her meetings and things. He didn't get to present his case because if he went and told his side of the story, they wouldn't have approved it. So it's a little reverse psychology. He's playing 4D chess. He's 8 moves ahead. I can't go tell them that Meri deserved to be abandoned because then they won't grant the release. An eternity is a long time.
That she deserved it. Was pretty much what he was going to go in and say the catfish thing.
Yes. That's exactly what the defense would have been.
Yeah, he would have been like, she got catfish. I don't know if you know about it. Here's pictures of her sucking on a banana.
I don't know if you've seen these. I don't know if you're aware of these.
I have a bunch of voicemails that I'd like to play for you.
Oh, no, the voicemails. They're still on SoundCloud, guys.
You walk in and slap down a copy of Almost Married on the counter.
And then just show which clips was that when he was saying he wouldn't cross a burning bridge to save her or something like that. It was them fighting in her backyard where he had complained that she asked him to leave. And she was like, I didn't mean forever, dude.
This is the thing, though. You decided to still be together.
You have decided.
Like, you publicly acted like you've gotten past the catfish. That was not a reason to end your relationship. I mean, technically, they did.
But then also just go ahead and mention in passing that I don't really think of us as being married anymore. And if Meri just moved on and found somebody else, I think that'd be the best case scenario for everybody.
Like, these people aren't watching this show. They're not keeping up with at least the highlights of the stupid shit that Kody has said.
So I'm sure Meri had plenty of footage to provide as evidence to get that case approved pretty quickly. Just that tell-all footage of Kody popping off.
I thought you were going to mention how he said his religion isn't a cult. Marriage is a cult.
Oh, right. Because marriage is a cult because it's easy to get into and hard to get out of. I don't think that's what defines a cult, technically. Being easy to get into and hard to get out of.
I would say that's probably like one factor that would help you identify a cult.
So like an MLM?
Exactly.
You're getting close.
Well, with that lovely thought about the sanctity of marriage, let's move on to...
Oh, no. Sealing the deal?
A holiday for lovers, Valentine's Day.
Boo-doo-doo-boo.
Do we start with Christine and David?
Oh, man.
Because we got two
sets.
Juxtapositions of Valentine's Day. We have Christine and David's Valentine's Day and Kody and Robyn's Valentine's Day.
Christine's starts out with a pop-in visit from McKelty and Aspen, though.
Fashion show, fashion show, fashion show at lunch. Christine, you got to try clothes on at the store. I think we got to stop doing this.
I'll be honest with you, though. This is my strategy, too. I don't like to try the stuff on at the store.
Why? Because then if you don't like it, okay, I'll speak for myself.
Yeah.
I would be more likely to be lazy and not want to go out of my way to return it
Yeah.
versus trying on something, deciding that I hate it or that I picked the wrong size and just knowing it in the store already. I just eliminated a step.
Okay, yeah, that's usually what happens. Like if I buy something online and I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be this size or it's going to be whatever fit or whatever. And then it gets to me and it's not that. And I go, well, I guess I'm just going to, I hate this forever now. And that's just how I deal with that. It's my own fault and it's my own cross to bear. That was when I used to buy random stuff. What was that place called in Chicago? It was the app where it was always junk.
An app that was full of junk?
Yeah, the app that they always had. Groupon.
Groupon.
Yeah. The products that they had on there were dog shit. So remember the bike rack that you bought? And I was like, what the fuck is this? And it didn't have like standard issue size nuts and bolts to put it together. I was like, I don't know what British tools I need to engineer this. Or something, but that was garbage. That was terrible. I bought a pair of shoes from there and there was just like a big crinkle fold in the sole of it on the inside of the shoe. So every step, horrible, absolutely defective. Didn't do anything about it. I was like, yeah, this is just.
You wore them though, didn't you?
Yeah, I wore them a lot until they wore out, which probably took about 2 months in Chicago. No big deal. Anyway. What was I going with this?
We were talking about Christine's fashion show.
Okay, yeah, fashion show.
She loves an off-shoulder, like a one-shoulder dress.
Not faulting her for not trying stuff on in the store, though. I think that was my original point.
Oh, you're not going to shame her.
No.
I am.
Okay. How close are we to Christine vajazzling on screen, though? Because she saw the hair extensions from Aspen.
She saw it's a little tinsel in Aspen's hair.
A little sparkle.
Aspen is fun. She's the fun aunt.
She is, and she's keeping it real, too, because she had to step away about 5 seconds after being around McKelty and was like, I think I need a break anyway, so if you'll excuse me for a moment.
Same girl.
She's the voice of reason.
The TV.
Yeah, and sanity here, the last bastion of that in this family.
Christine goes and fetches Truly so that they can all participate in this mommy-daughter try on a sexy dress for your Valentine's Day with David.
I don't think Truly's the audience that we should involve in this. I mean, like McKelty and Aspen, they clearly were like, okay, yeah, like we can be involved. They came out of their way to come over to Christine's house for this purpose.
Also, they're adults.
They're married.
Are married, who understand and do the things that married people do. And Truly is unfortunately subjected to the sights and sounds of what it is like to live with newlyweds, and she doesn't need more details.
And McKelty's asking, why can't we go sexier? We need more sexier. And Truly's like, please, no. Please, no.
I would love to see, though, what her interpretation of that means.
More sexy. Make it sexy. She was trying to say not overtly sexy. She wanted it to be tastefully sexy, but we've been to Christine's wedding. I don't think we're doing tasteful sexy. Truly knows. If you're asking for sexy, she knows what you're going to get.
We even get Christine miming us a striptease.
Oh, there was no miming. That was happening. But, okay, to the fault of Aspen and McKelty, because they're saying, take it off. And I think that just triggered something. It was like a sleeper cell phrase in Christine's head, where if you're telling her to remove garments of clothing, that's the mode that she goes into.
She got very excited. She's been practicing.
Muscle memory instinct took over.
And that's the moment where Truly remembers that she's sitting on Christine and David's bed.
All right, I'm going to head out. I think I'm going to head out. I'm going to head out to
my room.
I'm done now. Thank you.
She decides to just wear the dress that we saw her try on. Like, did she? Was it a fashion show?
Not
really. It was one item.
She had 2 other hangers, but she didn't try anything else on that we saw because, Truly tapped out. And rightfully so. I can't fault her for it.
We see them head out on their date. I guess it wasn't Valentine's Day because they asked at the restaurant, what are you celebrating tonight?
Valentine's Day, clearly. I'm dressed like a heart. Fashion. Is it costume or couture?
There's only 3 of these ever made.
Bronwyn gave her a run for her money.
Okay, but the restaurant selection. This was a Christine pick.
The Oyster House. Clearly, she knew what she was getting into.
She's like, we need a little aphrodisiac before later.
It's not the only thing you're going to be slurping on tonight, David.
Needed a moment to recover. I guess it worked because David toasts to her hotness. What else did they talk about? Basically, just how much Valentine's Day sucked being a polygamist. It was a big family party. They tried not to do anything that focused on the individual relationships, the marriages. So Kody would just get everyone the same generic flowers, except for Robyn, who got a special bouquet.
Well, and the other damaging things, too, it was the kind of the hit to Christine's confidence when Kody was telling her they should have a platonic marriage because he was never attracted to her. And that was really damaging in a lot of ways. So that was something hard for her to deal with and difficult for her.
Her self-esteem seems to have rebounded.
I think she bounced back and then some, to say the least. I thought it was funny where she said, I wish he would have brought it up sooner, the whole platonic marriage proposal that he pitched to me, because I would have kicked his ass out sooner. Because the week after he said platonic marriage, I said, I'm out. And for those reasons,
Our freaky bitch is not having it.
Not going to do it. But now Dr. David is going to have to work overtime. He's going to have to start billing by the hour here for the amount of therapy that he's providing for Christine. Because that's what people are kind of calling out, pointing out, that Christine feels safe. She's letting all of these wounds from polygamy heal with her relationship with David. And I would say, can we get mental health professionals to kind of carry that burden a little bit more instead of just dumping this all on Dave?
Dave's just worried about drywall. Drywalls and wet ass.
Oh, wow. Whoa.
Well, shall we transition to the She-Ra Chateau?
Oh, boy.
We need our intro music for this segment.
You know how the song goes? Do, 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 do. Seventh heaven. We were talking about how this just feels like every Kody and Robyn storyline now feels like an episode of Seventh Heaven. The melodrama, the over-exaggeration of the monotony of what's being presented, elevated to extreme levels of drama.
So the challenge they're faced with today is it is Valentine's Day, and they've gotten Ari a makeup vanity, but it only just arrived today. So they're going to have to assemble it before she gets home from school. Can they do it?
Did it only just arrive today, or has it been buried in several boxes that they weren't able to fish their way through on the front stoop here? They weren't able.
It's just under 65 QVC boxes. Robyn didn't even know it was there.
She didn't.
It got delivered 3 days ago. She probably got a second vanity because she said that her order was never, in fact, delivered.
Doubled up. Now you're going to have to dispute it on your credit card.
Gonna say that my sister wife's closet money is good.
What goes around comes around.
Probably bought this vanity.
Most likely, yeah. So it's a race against the clock, and it's also a lovely assistant scenario. But I can't tell who's the lovely assistant to whom. It's kind of a who's on first. It's who's the one whose project this is. I guess it's Robyn's project because she bought the vanity. So Kody is being her lovely assistant.
Did you catch him call her like the number one shopper, or you're such a great shopper, the best shopper, my number one customer?
My number one customer.
Everyone's number one customer is Robyn Brown.
I guess, yeah.
Ari's wearing makeup, so she needs a makeup vanity.
And Kody is Mr. Valentine's. If we're talking about...
Is that a character?
If Robyn is the number one customer, then Kody being self-proclaimed Mr. Valentine's Day because he got a reservation at a restaurant.
He's trying to make up for all of the years that he disappointed Robyn because those other wives that I had, they compared all the time. So I couldn't get anything special for you, or they would want the same.
Kody is haunted by the ghosts of Valentine's Day past, this Valentine's Day, for a change of heart.
I take issue with the fact that they got Ari a gift, but it didn't seem like they got Saul one.
No, because Ari's a girl, and Valentine's Day is a girl's holiday.
Okay, that's what I don't like about it.
I'm sure Saul ended up with a couple of Iron Man action figures here or there.
There's no way she got past the front door of TJ Maxx without finding him a little something special.
A little sweet treat for Valentine's Day.
This then turns into a conversation about the lack of affection that happened within the family, that there was no PDA in front of the other wives. And Robyn knew that that was a mistake.
Robyn takes a moment to just go ahead and slam everything wrong with plural marriage, and specifically how the OG3 handled polygamy. Even though they seemed like they were doing just fine before she joined the family, Robyn, in this case,
And she knew that that's how they handled things, and she decided to join the family.
So isn't that on you at that point?
Seems like it.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like maybe you're full of shit when it comes to this.
Because no one else is really complaining that much about the lack of affection in front of one another. I think Christine would have liked some affection behind closed doors that she wasn't getting.
In front of closed doors, behind closed doors, in, on, and around, kitchens, couches, pretty much anywhere. And
blinds,
everywhere.
no blinds, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But it seemed like the main consistent thing that we heard was that if the other wives weren't in a great place with Kody, which clearly they usually were not, then they weren't really comfortable with the PDA aspects of Kody and Robyn, because they always were good in terms of a relationship, the marital relationship between the two of them. So then it's always being thrown in your face.
Somehow this ends up being Meri's fault. That the origin of this rule within the family came from Meri being too touchy-feely at the beginning of the marriage where Janelle came in and married Kody.
Well, they talked about that in the book, too.
They did, that Meri was always snuggled up with Kody, almost taunting Janelle in a way, is the way that it seemed to be described.
That's how Janelle was describing it, more so in the book. And then for this conversation, Kody was saying that Janelle's mom pulled him aside and was like, hey, you're making Janelle uncomfortable. So Janelle didn't even bring it up with Kody, which I think that's another weird part of this, too, that they're not really addressing either.
So things that would have saved the family. Just in the past episodes, Robyn told us there wasn't enough God and there wasn't enough PDA. Those two things typically go hand in hand in a family culture.
That'll fix it. Yeah, that ought to do it.
We are going out to dinner, though, for Valentine's Day. Did you want to move on, or you have more to say about the Vanity?
Well, Kody and Robyn have dates.
Yes.
And it's the Italian place near the crystal shop, of course.
Teatro.
Teatro? Is that
Teatro?
Teatro, maybe?
You're correct. It is across the street from Crystal Magic, which...
That is right where they parked the car, was right in front of Crystal Magic. I feel like Robyn's been in that store. We looked through the showroom, perused through the wares very quickly, and we saw
a lot of big amethyst rocks.
Those big geode ones, that one that's by the door, definitely. We saw some theories flying around, maybe because the Janelle and Meri conversation took place later on. Looked like it was probably in the summer. Maybe some of these dates were filmed after the fact too, and we're getting cheated out of this storyline. We were looking into this a little bit more though, but Teatro had a specific Valentine's Day menu.
They had a prefix menu on Valentine's Day, which...
And we dug through that. It seems to match up with what was filmed.
Yeah, I was wondering why they would choose to go to an Italian restaurant when they both don't eat gluten. And y'all, I know that gluten-free pasta exists and that many places do have that as an option, but it did not say that on this menu. But miraculously, on Valentine's Day, most of the items on the prefix menu were not, like there wasn't a lot of pasta. It was items that included no gluten.
And there was a gluten-free option, yes.
I do think that Robyn was feasting on the Tuscan tomato bisque while Kody was Kody was eating his chopped romaine Caesar salad with his hot tea.
The hottest of tea, but not really.
Hashtag investigate.
Investigate.
And again, a reminder, I do think a lot of what we're going to see is going to be out of order throughout the rest of the season.
But not this stuff. This seemed to be pretty accurate.
Robyn is surprised that they're exchanging. They are. Exchange. She doesn't know that word.
Exchanging gifts.
She doesn't know the word return, and she doesn't know exchange. But she did not bring whatever she got Kody for Valentine's Day, but Kody did bring the gifts that he has for Robyn. And what the fuck?
I thought turquoise stuff, I thought this was a Janelle thing. So is this another infinity ring of a wife trait, a former wife trait that Robyn has acquired for herself? Did Kody confuse the turquoise?
She didn't say anything about it.
She didn't, but did he already buy these for Janelle? And then he realized that very quickly Janelle did not want to go to Valentine's Day with him.
That he was going to give Robyn the earrings and Janelle the bracelet.
He already bought all of these, and he was like, well...
He must. How much David Yurman jewelry do these two own?
It's a lot. But pretty jewelry for a pretty woman. Because Kody's a smooth talker.
And then it wasn't in the script, so he forgot to improv it, but he almost clamped the box down on Robyn's hand.
She wasn't expecting it, so it was a real laugh during that scene. But not really. Not for this one.
Robyn doesn't laugh, so we couldn't do that.
Nope, couldn't do that.
She looks like he is sucking the life out of her as they're sitting at dinner.
I wasn't sure where that sentence was going. I really wasn't sure.
Doesn't she look... I'm not trying to be like, I don't think it's nice to talk about women aging quickly.
No, I'll talk about it.
But
haggard. It's haggard. That's the descriptor I think that you're going for, because there's a pained sort of sadness about it.
She does not look like she is 10 years younger than Kody.
Not anymore. I think she's passed him up and then some at this point.
I'm going to take issue with a lot of the rest of the conversation because we have been predicting a Kody redemption arc, and I believe that the start of it happened in this episode.
They're trying to sprinkle this in. They're trying to work this in because Robyn's asking about Kody's trip to Utah to see his girls, some of his daughters. He must have had
business in Utah. He wouldn't go there just to visit.
To visit?
Who? To visit Truly?
No, I don't think he even saw Truly. He was talking about Aspen a lot, and then some other kids from other mothers. But he didn't name names. He wasn't specific on it. So it was mostly about this conversation with Aspen that he was talking about.
Was it a conversation or a confrontation? Because that's what Robyn believes it sounded like.
Robyn described it as a confrontation because Aspen was upset. She had some pointed words for Kody Brown, and she was taking him to task. Why don't you like me? Very direct question. Right to the point.
I think that's a lot of good progress in this family. We need to ask more direct and pointed questions that we need answers to.
Less loaded questions, more pointed questions, please.
They talked it out. I guess it's fine now.
It's still Kody blaming his exes for his bad relationship with his children, though. So I don't like that part of it because that's what he keeps going back to, where he's saying, oh, they're seeing this through the filter of these jaded ex-wives who have left me, and so now they're shitty with me too. No, again, it's because your children are old enough to see what you are doing as an adult man, alleged adult man, and how you're navigating your life, and they know what type of person you are based on what you say and do.
I do think when he mentioned that he actually had the realization, which this was big, that he was getting his identity from his wives and his kids telling him how awesome he was. That, I think, is the root of why he went so insular and stuck around Robyn's family and didn't reach out to anyone else.
His identity was rooted in them continuing to do that. So now you have way less people who are around to provide that supply now, and you're relying on them to do it in this house.
That's why Robyn looks so exhausted.
That is now your curse. Yeah, that's what you're left with at this point because he needs someone constantly telling him he's awesome. Did he listen to the podcast? Because we clocked that a while ago, though. So has he heard our take on it? Did he find some self-reflection along the way?
I'm not sure that he would be able to get through a full episode.
I don't think so.
There's just too many critiques of his behavior.
Gosh, and the way that he was walking stuff back, too, because he was talking about how he was talking so much shit about all of his ex-wives, and he kept dumping on them about how he didn't love them, and he was just bulldozing over his feelings. He wasn't being honest about it. And it was like the Rick James recollection sort of thing, like talking shit about my ex-wives and stuff like that. I think I got more sense than that. Yeah, I remember talking shit about my ex-wives. Like, it was just
exactly
the same breath where you're saying, oh, come on, that was so ridiculous. But like, yeah, I remember when I did that. So it wasn't really like taking on credit for it or taking accountability, God forbid.
The part of the confessional where he mentions that he did, in fact, love his wives, and that was just things he was saying to protect his own ego, I believe that that was probably filmed after Garrison passed. Because the way he's talking at the end of the episode is that he wants things to be better, his relationships with everyone.
But then he doesn't want to change any of his behaviors. He doesn't want to change any of the way that he interacts with people or take anybody else into account or consideration. So then that's going to make it really difficult. How are you going to change that dynamic when you're not going to change anything about your behavior?
It's an excellent question that Kody should address in the confines of therapy.
As part of this conversation, then Robyn is floating the idea of polygamy again. Bad idea.
I don't think that she really wants to do it again.
I'm not sure now because I think she wants to be the favored wife, and I think she is getting exhausted being a monogamous wife for Kody. So I think she needs the scapegoats. She knows she's running out of excuses now, too, for why things aren't going to get better in their life after all this dead weight of these horrible ex-wives are now out of the picture.
That's fair. I think I see someone producing a storyline here, and her name is Robyn Alice Brown. And what she's trying to do is make it a will they, won't they get back into polygamy again until they ultimately decide against it 3 seasons from now. And they have a vow renewal to celebrate their journey into monogamy.
Yeah, I don't think that they would be doing it. I think she just has to keep asking him because Kody can change his mind every single day. So she just has to clarify with him, like, we're still on that spot? And she can't bring it up in a negative way because then he might just want to do it to be contrarian at that point. So she doesn't really know. It's a very dangerous way to navigate this. So she has to be careful on it. I just think it's strange how Kody's extremism for polygamy has flipped, where he was so pro-polygamy for a while there, significant amount of time, majority of his life, and now that he's discovered that polygamy is bad for him, he doesn't wish it on anyone. He's concerned for all of his close friends, anybody else who's involved in it. He shudders at the
mostly
thought.
The men.
Well, yeah, particularly the husbands are going to really feel the brunt of this.
The next time on looked like a snooze fest.
Hold on, let me see if I can remember it. Oh, David threw a frisbee over a fence. That's the big drama between Christine and David. But honestly, I don't mind seeing David get into a little mischief. I think I like that. I like that side of him.
Well, then Meri is talking about dating, which is super interesting for us to watch someone talk about doing something that they haven't been doing.
And then we can talk about them talking about it for you, dear listener. So you'll get the whole rundown next week. Was that it?
That is it. That's the whole episode.
Okay. Well, no, and that's it for the next time?
That was all they showed in the next time that we saw.
Oh, boy.
Hopefully there's something better in whatever airs.
There's got to be something else in there, you guys. I really hope so.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.